Welcome back to the Dabs podcast, everybody. I am your host, Amelia Perez. Thank you so much for coming back, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking around and, coming back to join the G. I have a wonderful guest. You guys might remember him from last time, my man Louis. Louis, what up? Say what's up to the people, my man. How you doing?
I'm back. Thank you for having me, Amelia. I appreciate you always letting me come through and be on your podcast. Is amazing, so I appreciate you. And what's up, audience? How you guys doing out there?
Hey, to my subscribers, thank you guys so much. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the patience you guys show as well. Because, life is busy. Sometimes we have that crazy night schedule. So sometimes, you just get caught up in work, sleep, work out,
Busy but beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, It's always beautiful to stay active and busy and consistent. And some people it might be like boring or whatever, but I like it to be like, just like structure. You feel me? Like I like to get up and go do something, put in some work. To me, it's fun. I like seeing my people at work, my family.
Yeah, you do.
So as soon as I'm up, I'm blessed. I'm just always on a positive vibe. Let's get the day going, Let's get this coffee. Let's get it started.
Don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. You already know that.
We need that coffee, boss. We need that coffee.
Exactly. So what are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about a couple of random things that might seem random, but,
It might touch some of y'all. Yeah, it might be important to some of y'all, So it might be some spiritual, some factual, who knows, but we just keep it real and hopefully, you guys learn something from this and appreciate the convo because we some smart people, we got a lot of knowledge, so listen.
We're triple G's at this point in a certain sense, but at the end of the day, we're also still very young and we have a lot of things to learn. But yeah, we're a little older now.
We still gotta
learn some
older,
stuff. You know what I mean? Now 35. Perfect. How old do you know?
I'm turning 38 in a couple months, so
we know a little bit.
Scorpio, what's up?
A little bit, you know what I mean? Hey, Leo season. My birthday's next week, actually, next Tuesday.
There you go.
I turned 36. Oh, shit, that's 4 years away from 40. You know what I mean? So
we're getting there.
Hey, I love it.
We're aging gracefully, though. We looking good, our age, So.
I have to agree. We still get carded. I still get carded. Do you get carded?
Yeah, sometimes.
You got a sick beard though, so that probably gives it away.
Sometimes, yeah, but I don't be going to the stores like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
But I get carded every now and then.
Yeah, like when I'm in Vegas, I get carded. It's a trip to see the older ladies come at me talking about, excuse me, no kids at the casino, and I'm like, lady, I'm like 35 years old. No, let me see your ID, and I have to show them ID because now they get a little crazy. And I'm not trying to.
You got that baby face.
Get it. It's a curse sometimes, but most of the time it's a blessing. But yeah, sometimes it's like.
You got them good looks and good jeans, boss.
You know what? I say I have to get rewarded for.
And then with that fitted, it's a wrap. With that fitted.
Oh, we got to support the Dodgers even though they lost.
Go Dodgers.
Even though they lost yesterday. Today we're supporting the 2017 World Series champs.
They've been balling, man. They just lost last night.
Yeah.
They're on a roll.
Other than that, they had a 9-game winning streak.
They're probably just like 1-2 games behind the Yankees overall in the number one spot.
In the whole MLB?
Yeah, they're good right now. They're on fire.
Hey, you know what? It's a long season. What is it, 180 something? Is it 180 something games?
Wow, it's a lot.
It's a little much, my opinion. I think that baseball needs to be shortened up. But, we're here to talk about a couple things. Let's start with the very, very
first I would like to talk about mentoring. I'm not a mentor myself, but I know how important a mentor can be.
I'd say that's not correct, but go ahead.
So I basically I bring it up because my baby mama, she's a mentor and she inspired me. And
shout out to Stephanie Serrano.
And I think she's an amazing person, and I learned a lot from her. And so I brought you this gift from her.
Oh, thanks, man.
This is a book that she just wrote, and the kids illustrated it. And maybe after you could read it and check it out. But she gave you a little book.
From Foster Care to Changing the World by Stephanie Serrano. And I think this is beautiful.
So there you go. She gave you a little autograph with it. So we'll bring her on the Dabs podcast later on to talk about that. But yeah, I believe mentoring is very important. So even though I'm not a mentor to little children out there or kids out there, you still got to be involved a type of way. I recently was a coach for a team, and I learned a lot, and it taught me a lot being with those kids, and it was fun. And those kids, like, they looked up to me, and they were like happy to see me all the time, and it was just like so happy to see their smiles on their faces. And anyways, like, it just, like, to me, it's always like we were talking about earlier, it's always good to be active, to be involved. And that's what I've learned from Stephanie, because it's like, instead of being home chilling, watching TV, playing video games, I'd rather be more, in the community with the kids, being more involved in myself, for my health, being active, and stuff like that. And I think it's good for your mental health and whatnot, physical health. So mentoring, like I said, I think is very important and I think we're both like positive role models in the community, because we get up every day, we grind hard, we're good citizens, and we mind our business, we keep it pushing. And you're doing your Dabs podcast, you're doing your side business, with your Airbnb stuff, and then you're a boss at work. So I think, like, people like us, should inspire everyone out there, and hopefully they could get up their butts and write a book or be a coach or do a podcast. You feel me? So I think that's very important, just, to be, a positive role model to people out there, So that was my topic right there of the mentoring part.
You know what, man? I appreciate that, the kind words. And I'm not going to read to you guys what, actually, yeah. I will read to you guys what she said, because I think this is a beautiful message, She wrote, Amelia, foster children are very special, so glad to turn my experience into something to inspire, especially other children experiencing foster care. Thank you for being a ray of light in my family's life. And I'm blessed, beautiful, beautiful picture. Oh, Steph, hey, I don't mean to embarrass you, but you look beautiful right there. You know what I mean? I don't think there's nothing embarrassing about that, but thank you so much for this blessing. And, it's funny that you say that, because a couple years ago, before COVID, because that's when the opportunities to volunteer were more plentiful, at least for the avenues in which I have them in. And it was a youth camp at USC. And it was a trip, because a lot of those kids, they'll share their experiences with you as long as they trust you a little bit. It doesn't take much, because they're yearning for someone to listen to, for someone to guide them, someone to to talk to and to trust. And so it was crazy, because I had like little kids telling me, what they experience in everyday life, and anything from, dad hitting mom to, mom going to jail because, cops found white pills on the desk. And this is like what a 3-year-old told me. And this is like some crazy stuff, and then another young lady talking about how her foster mom, she understands where she stands with her, and it's not in a very positive way. And that really like broke my heart, because, as a foster kid growing up, I was blessed that, although my mom wasn't perfect, we got spanked. I think as most kids our age got spanked.
Yeah, back in those days. Pretty like normal. It was a norm back then.
Yeah, and discipline. But I think we needed it, because we were a little bit more headstrong, and we were a little bit more like, we wanted to try different things and push the boundaries and stuff like that. But borderline abuse, I don't know. I guess that's for another podcast, but I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I feel like at the end of the day, it got the message across. It kept me off the streets. And I think at the end of the day, we come from, that's very important, to keep your kids off the street at all cost. And making sure your girls come out of high school not pregnant. And nothing against girls that do get pregnant. Obviously, I know a lot of girls that, disclaimer, that got pregnant in high school, and they're doing a beautiful job. So this is not about specifically that. I'm just saying that as a parent, you obviously want to avoid that from happening. But once it happens, you have to adjust to that situation. You love your kid, you support, and you do what you're supposed to do as a parent. You know what I mean? But I think what you try to do is avoid that situation from happening. So, but yeah, like these kids, they were very excited to see me day after day. It was a 3-day camp. So I definitely understand what you're saying about how.
Shout out USC, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, shout out USC, because they had a program that was 5 days long about youth foster camps, and just really like giving the kids an opportunity to like express their feelings, express through a lot of ways, through sports, through painting, creative drawing.
That's right.
Coding. They taught them how to code. Like there's a lot of ways to try to like get the kids to open up. Exactly.
To talk. Yeah, it's better out than in. It's better to vent to someone than to just keep your problems or issues to yourself, because then one day something would trigger, you'll blow up, and that's how all this crazy stuff's happening in the world that we're living in right now. So I feel like those programs are very important.
Yeah,
And so
definitely.
that's why shout out to yourself and Stephanie again, because people like you got me like to be like, what the hell am I doing all day? Just, being home, being lazy, being a bum. So
And you know what? Shout out to everybody that's listening out there. We want you guys to understand. Hey, you know what? You all you got to do is maybe dedicate an hour, 2 hours a week.
Yeah, volunteer, not too hard,
Yeah, and you know what? Every time I volunteer, I always tell myself, dang, you get more nervous about what you're doing. Like I remember when I was reading to a couple of classroom kids, like probably like 3-4 classrooms, Dr. Seuss books for Dr. Seuss Day. And I was nervous and everything. Is Elizabeth Elementary, shout out to Elizabeth Elementary in Southgate, of course. And when I saw that opportunity, I jumped on it because, of course, raised in Southgate, I saw that as an opportunity to directly give back to my backyard,
That's
So it was freaking awesome. But let me tell you, I was nervous. I was scared because, number one, kids, they ain't got no filter, man. You already know that. They're going to say all kinds of crazy things. They're going to ask you all kinds of questions. They don't have no filter. And for somebody like myself, I already know what kids are going to ask. I already know. It's every time.
It's those inappropriate
questions, damn kids, but they're kids. And at the end of the day, you don't want to shun them. For asking questions. You want to encourage them to ask questions in a respectful way. And you as an adult can't take it all personal when they say things that to you don't seem as appropriate, but to a kid, how else are they going to ask you?
Yeah, you're super curious at that age, for sure. Super
Yeah,
curious, and then you want to be honest to a person too.
Yeah.
So you want to be, pretty direct and tell them the truth.
Yeah, yeah, they're pretty crazy. And it was like 3rd grade, 5th grade, 1st grade, and 4th grade. So it's like nerve-wracking because these kids are different age ranges. But it was a beautiful thing. I had a great time.
That's nice.
They called me Miss Perez. It was adorable. They were all telling me about how all their parents are UPS drivers, which I think is hilarious because
Sick.
once they found out that I work for UPS, everybody worked for UPS.
Shout out UPS, man.
You know what I mean? Freaking kids. You know what I mean? So it was a great experience. But yeah, Louis right. Take the time to look out and see what you can do in your neighborhood. I've also volunteered with high school kids and prepped them for college interviews and job interviews, which is freaking sweet. Because, I mean, man, you get to help a kid that's in high school prepare for something that's pretty big in their life and learn how to talk and
how to dress, how to look presentable.
Exactly, all of that. You give them feedback on all of that.
Even adults need help with that still. So imagine the kids. So that's why that's important. Yeah, that's why it's very important.
You're giving them confidence. There's so much that you can do. One of the things that I love doing during Christmas time is feeding the kids and going to like YMCA's and like being a part of the serving. Like I really like to serve. Last time I did the mashed potatoes, the stuffing,
Nice.
And somebody that's cool does the turkey. But yeah, dude, like it's a beautiful thing.
It's always it's beautiful giving back, and it's good networking. You meet people like-minded. You meet people like you, and then it's always like building a stronger community and a safer community for yourself. And that's what we like to live in. That's why we respect the people around, our neighbors, whatever. And we live in a safer community,
True that.
So that's why it's important to be involved and like you said, it's not that hard to make an effort. You just got to get up and look at your local schools, park, churches.
YMCA's, churches, boys and girls clubs.
Clean up the school, clean up the park. Volunteer is not that hard. And then just go treat yourself for a good meal after that. You'll feel good about yourself that day.
Yep.
You'll meet
it's a good excuse to go do something good for yourself. You know what I mean?
People remember me like, remember that guy? Remember that lady? Yeah. They're so nice. They cleaned up the park. They gave out free food because sometimes we like to give out food for the homeless too. We just randomly just pick up a couple meals and we don't really know where they're at. We just go around the block, neighborhood. Here, you want some water? You want some? And bam, we just bless everyone. And by the end of the day, me and the family go home and we just watch a movie and we're like, damn, we feel good. Like
shout out to Lost Angels who used to and still does in some capacity host a Thanksgiving dinner over there at Venice Beach and really allows people to volunteer. I mean, it's a situation where there's so many people that they have to turn people away. So shout out to Los Angeles. I was able to meet Karuchi Tran. Shout out to Karuchi Tran in 2019 with the homie. I believe it was 2019. Forgive me if the year's plus or minus one. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you smoke a lot. But at the end of the day, the point is that they allowed the community an opportunity to serve, and I think that's great. So they allowed you to serve Thanksgiving dinner, and then shout out to Havasol. That's a great organization. That shout out to Ricky, shout out to Dash, That's the people that I met through my homie Elaine. Shout out to Elaine. She's the plug. You know what I mean? She would be like, what the heck? Shout out to Elaine, who's the plug.
All these boss people.
Sets up, Elaine's a great, she loves to volunteer. Shout out to the twins, Elaine, Denise.
Great heart.
She loves it, dude. And she gets all of us to like, hey, all you got to do is sign up. All you got to do is say yes. And she takes care of it. And we've been able to go out there and really, like I said, 2 hours of your day, you dedicate to making someone's life at that moment better. And then if you take your kids with you, a lot of people bring their kids. You're teaching your kids lifelong lessons about being humble and about being grateful and being thankful. Because if anything, what they see is the best teacher.
Yeah.
Because when they go down there and they see, people who are living in this kind of situation, one, they see that you have to be empathetic to people who are in those situations, but also, make sure you do what you're supposed to do to be kind to others, right? And then work hard and do what you can to help individuals in that situation, and then avoid being in that situation yourself. Of course,
it's hard.
Let's call it for what it is. Of course, you want your kid to not end up in the situation, and not to judge the people that are in that situation, but whatever happens to them.
It could be us, it could be any of us.
Exactly.
We could get laid off of work, we could get injured, disabled. So you can't judge other people. You gotta always remain humble.
Definitely not.
We could be in that tent one day.
Hey, all it takes is somebody to lose their job or whatever, somebody's spouse to pass away. I mean, how many times do you hear that story that?
What about that Delonte West kid? That Delonte West story that he was a successful NBA player.
I remember Delonte West.
Then he was in the streets, and then he went. You know what I'm saying? So
I remember Delonte West used to be one of my preferred Cavaliers when LeBron was young. I remember when they had them burgundy and green jerseys in Cleveland, right? And LeBron's hairline was a lot more forward, right? But Delonte West was one of those players that you liked seeing play, and it's a shame that happened to him. And no judging, but at the end of the day, he made his choices, right? He did drugs. He decided to gamble his money away or something like that. I mean, my man had millions of dollars, and call it what it may. Maybe he didn't know how to, obviously, keep that money. Maybe he gave it away to people. Maybe people take advantage of him. You don't know. You don't really know the story.
True. No one knows. But I mean, I think last time I heard he was doing better. Shout out to him. Hopefully, he does do better himself with his life and join the NBA again or something. But now that we're on that NBA, WNBA topic, we should talk about Brittany Griner, because I think she's still locked up right now.
She is still locked up.
And if she's locked
since
up,
February 27th, you know what I'm saying? We're in July 26th.
Wow.
So this is going to be her 5th month that she's been locked up. And, I'm just going to say
that would have been LeBron. He would have not even do more than a month. He would have been out by then.
Look, man.
But that's messed up,
You know what's messed up is the hate that I see in the comments when there's articles about Brittany Griner. The hate that Americans, have for black gay women. Like that shit, athletes too. Women athletes, which is super hypocritical because we're the same country that is all about trying to say we're all about women equality and we shouldn't limit our daughters and we shouldn't tell them that all they're good for is being pregnant and this and that. But when you have professional athletes that are women professional athletes, we don't support them. And it's clear as day in these comments. And it really makes me sad because it's damn, she's a human who made a mistake. Yeah. She had 0.7 grams, okay? They're charging her with large-scale transportation. If that is something that doesn't make you upset and doesn't make you stop and say, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, then you are part of the problem, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, she should have known and this and that. Are you 6'9"? Do you know what it's like to be 6'9"? Do you know what it's like to be a professional basketball player and live in pain and have to manage that pain, right? You're either going to be in prescription pills or you're going to be on alternative medicine,
alcohol,
which for some people is weed, right? And she had concentrated hash oil. Okay, 0.7 grams, mind you. I'm gonna keep saying that because it wasn't even a gram.
It was like this much.
Do you know what 0.7 grams is, people?
It's a little bit.
And for those of you guys that say, oh, she should have known and she should stay locked up because if it happened to me, la 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 la. Number one, it shouldn't happen to you. That's the whole point, right? Whether you violate that rule, the rule is, I think it's over a gram or 2 grams, then it's considered large-scale transportation, even in Russia. So the fact that they're doing this to her for 0.7 grams just goes to show you that it's a political game, right? And that she's a pawn. But it's she's been locked up for 5 months, people. And we've barely been able to see her. And people are not understanding that, she's being denied due process and that this trial is a sham. She's already going to be convicted. For 10 years, for 0.7 grams, like that to me is just ridiculous.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That's insane. That's
and
not
people
fair.
are like, oh, well, you can't compare her to LeBron. Well, compare her to a person, any other American. All those Americans that are over there should be out. And if you're going to say, oh, she's a casualty and that's what she gets and this and that, I hope that you and your family never make a mistake. Because, people have been forgiven or pardoned for much, much worse than that.
Yeah, it's not fair, dude. That's not fair at all. Like,
what do you think? I mean, you're a girl dad. What do you think?
Yeah, I just feel like if it would have been a male NBA player, they would never been in that situation. They would have been out like within a week or a month, if that. Like, it just works different, But for the
do you think it has to be a star NBA player? Do you think it could have been somebody who's low caliber?
Either, but for sure star, obviously, But either, I think as a regular NBA player, not even a star, he would have not even been there that long. But she's a star player, right? Like
she is. Like, let me tell you something, dude. She plays for the WNBA and for the Russian league, right? She was a national NCAA champion at Baylor. Mm-hmm. She was one of the first and few women that can dunk in the WNBA. Like, this is not somebody who's just a random player. This is somebody who is very, very good, is a champion, is an Olympic medalist for the WNBA. And part of the thing that hurts me about this is that it shows that people don't value women athletes in the same way that they value male athletes and gay women in general. Because I feel like if it was a white athlete, maybe even still a woman, but maybe white, maybe it would be a different response. Mm-hmm. I can't help but wonder that. If it was a straight white athlete, right? Mia Hamm, who's not straight, but let's just say Mia Hamm. Or what's that chick's name? Alex Morgan, the soccer player.
She's a beast. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right? Because they're not black. I just feel like America has a thing with black women.
I think so too.
Like if Serena Williams or Venus Williams got caught, the only thing that might save them is that they're fucking legends, but maybe. Mm-hmm. You get me?
Yeah, it's tough.
But if it was Andre Agassi, he would be out.
Billie King,
that white tennis lady. I don't know, dude. I don't know because she's gay, but at the end of the day, she's also white. So I don't know. I think being gay and being black is like a double negative for Brittany Griner. And people that say, "Oh, that has nothing to do with it," you're blind and you're ignorant. Because of course it has something to do with it.
Everything to do with it.
It has everything to do with it. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point, people. At first, people in the WNBA were told not to talk about it. Don't talk about Brittany Griner because you're gonna make a scene, right? And now they want to dedicate shirts and hardwood floors, which is sweet, but she's not dead. Like, let's get her out of Russia.
Yeah, she needs to be freed, man. Shout out to Brittany Griner. Stay strong, hang in there. Prayers out to you.
Keep your head up.
Keep your head up, man. They're
Keep
solid.
your head up. You know what I mean?
Effed up, man. What they got her going through.
It's crazy because at the end of the day, you know that she's going to be denied justice. And that's the problem more than anything. It's not so much that, she's getting convicted the way that their law works. That's how it looks on the surface. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that she's already been convicted. As soon as she was put in the jail cell, she was convicted. And I heard that they're putting her in small cells. Like, again, being 6'9" is something that's hard enough.
Fit in those damn cells, yeah. Like, her
you know what I mean?
Breaking there, man.
Physically, mentally, and for what? For 0.7, like I said, of a gram of hash oil? Come on, people. Like, should she have known better? Maybe, but at the end of the day, it's not. She's not transporting drugs, and that's what the charge is. At the end of the day,
that was personal. That's for her own use.
Her own medical use, people. She's not transporting drugs across Russia with 0.7 grams, that's my point as well.
Yeah, that's bogus.
So I don't know. I want to say that I hope she gets out soon, but with the way this Biden administration is dragging its feet on many things, I highly doubt that they're gonna help her. So we gotta just continue to pray. Shout out to Brittany Griner. Shout out to her wifey, Chanel Griner. I believe that's her name, Chanel. or Sherelle. My bad if I'm saying it incorrectly, but to your wifey, Mrs. Griner, like, shout out to you. Stay strong.
Yeah, man.
Because you do have supporters and you do have people that know that what's happening is wrong. You know what I mean? So, shout out to that. Shout out to, again, Miss Stephanie Serrano. Thank you so much for this great book. Again, from foster care to changing the world. And, the illustrations are beautiful. Right? And Louis, do you want to talk about who illustrated this, please?
Yeah, my daughters, man. To be honest, I barely got that book today, so I don't really know too much of it. I barely gave it to you, so what I do know is my baby mama wrote it, and my daughters illustrated it, and it's a book about foster children, or her story about something like that. Like I said, I haven't read it yet. She barely gave me a copy. I have my copies and my children's copies at home, so when I get home, I'm gonna look into it and read it. But you're the first one that potentially has the first one right now.
I feel blessed. I'm going to read this to my godson, because me and his daddy, we come from that situation, and I'm going to read a little bit of the back because this is talking about, of course, the author and the book. But I think it's great that your daughters, illustrated and mom wrote it, because I think it just shows, and shout out to you, Louis, for supporting such strong women in your household. And for allowing them to be independent, for allowing them to be strong. 2 Leos and a Virgo
ain't no joke, man.
You know what I mean? Oof.
Those girls are too much.
2 Leos and a Virgo, my boy. And what sign are you?
Strong women. I'm a Scorpio.
But that strong personalities all on the roof.
Just got strong people in the roof. Yeah, so shout out to them. Yeah, so she's amazing because she made this book and she could have just ignored the children and just. She's an artist herself. She could have made these beautiful pictures, but instead she got the children involved, and the children are excited because now they're like, yo, we did this book too. They're part of something. So that's what's so special about Stephanie Serrano, and that's why I learned a lot from her because, like, I see how much she touches people. She inspires people. She's a positive role model. She's an amazing mom to my children, and so
_rock artist on Instagram.
Dude, it pushes me to be a better person. So here I am being the best father I could try to be, and then I'm in the weekends playing softball with my teammates and some coworkers that we created a team, and we're playing every Sunday together. So I'm trying to be a positive role model to my own children, by showing up to work every day, by playing sports on the weekends, and by being involved in the community, whether it's coming out in a parade or helping the homeless or whatever it is, But that's why this book, it's so special, So.
Shout out to you. You know what I mean? To young fathers and mothers out there doing it, parents, you know what I mean? Because it's not easy, especially with all the negative influences that are out there in the world. Social media is a dual-edged sword. You can use it to be successful and you can use it to have a good life, definitely for sure, and to spread your message. And it can be positive, right? But it's like anything. It can be negative if you allow it and if you use it in a negative way. To tear people down, to bully people online, which people do, to spread negative energy and spread negative stories and only focus on bad things in the world. I think that's super easy. Yeah.
Online stuff.
Of course, the black market. Yeah, the internet is
scary.
Scary, and we have to protect our children. And I think one of the ways to do that is to share with them your story. What your experiences, right? Because you can teach them so much, and then just doing and being, So shout out to you, shout out to your lady or to your baby mama, to Stephanie and to the kids. Right, this is great to be like brave enough to say, hey, I'm gonna illustrate a book and it's gonna be out there.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so like I said, it should be hitting the shelves pretty soon in the areas. I don't know yet, but I'll get her to call you again, and you get to set up the Dabs podcast again, so you guys.
I didn't know this. And this makes me even more prouder of what I have accomplished. It kind of gives me a reminder because sometimes it's easy to be like, it really wasn't nothing, right? But 3% of former foster youth obtain a college degree.
Facts. That's 3%. A low number.
I'm blessed to be one of those 3%.
And I didn't
Stephanie is one of those 3%.
Just a few, very few, man.
Shout out to my baby brother, Tyke Nelworth. You know what I mean? Who serves on our great country. Shout out to you, baby boy. And, it's something that don't take it for granted that you've overcome that mountain and overcome that obstacle, right?
It's people like us and like those 3%ers that change the world and like have to like be that light in this dark world that we're living in to like change change the stuff, the situation we're living in, because it's sad that the things that we're seeing out there, what's going on, like the elote people getting harassed, or the fruit people's things getting tossed.
What's up with
over.
that, dude? Leave street vendors alone.
Yeah,
Like,
like-
I don't understand, and that just goes back to being a good person, right? That just has to be with being someone who spreads positivity and light. Because no matter what race you are, no matter what socioeconomic background you come from, no matter what, you can be a good person. And that right there, to do something like that, takes effort.
Yeah.
To say, hey, I'm going to go there and I'm going to harass this guy or girl or lady, and I'm going to have a physical altercation with them, and I'm going to hurt them, and I'm going to take their stuff. That takes thought and that takes intent.
I'm right here trying to support these people. Like, damn, man, they're having a hard life, whatever. They probably can't get a job, whatever the situation is. They're probably trying to raise some money for a loved one. And I'm right here trying to support them. And then there's people that are trying to, like, just ruin their lives or whatever. But I'm trying to tell my kids, like, look, let's pull over right here and, like, support these people. They're working hard. They need the money more. Instead of going to, like, Michoacana, even though Michoacana is bomb as hell. And just to give local people our money and the local business people.
Support local business in your community.
And
right?
I'm out here
Because
trying to
that's
tell my
gonna
daughters,
help,
like, yeah, maybe in the future, or, you guys can set up your own lemonade stand. You guys can sell your own fruit. But then you see stuff like that happening in the community, and then you want to be like, oh, never mind, because I don't want my kids getting harassed or their stuff getting stolen or getting robbed or whatever, So that's why it's important, like I said, to always be involved in the community and lead by example and show your kids and other adults, like, yo, this is the way it's done, and I even tip them extra dollars. Baby mama tips them extra dollars. I'm sure you're a big tipper, so it's always giving back and appreciating those little things and the people like that sell flowers, that sell fruit, that sell, munchies for the kids, and you know what I'm saying. So that was just an example of, you feel me, but that's why I'm like, you know what, like, I gotta start, like, being busy with my life and trying to be, like, I know I'm being a good father, but I could do this for more kids out there, and maybe more, even adults. Like, adults look at me and be like, yo, like, you're a cool dude, or, I like what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, well, you can do it too, you feel me? Like, it's not that hard. Like,
yeah. The goal is to inspire people to do more, right? Little acts of kindness and little acts of giving back, because it does spread. Go clean up the park, go clean up the beach, teach your kid
they got days
that it's
like that.
important to tutor and help who you can, right? Because the stronger your community is, the safer it is, and the more that it'll prosper. And who doesn't want their community to prosper at the end of the day? So, we just wanted to come on here, and update you guys on our opinion on a couple of things, and just update you guys on, Stephanie's book. More than anything, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing to be out in the world. And I'm definitely going to read it to my godson. I'm definitely going to send it to all my nieces and nephews. I got brothers and sisters in different area codes, some of them have young kids, and I'm going to send this to a couple of my college buddies that have kiddos that I think would benefit from this perspective. And I think the more kids that understand that not everybody grows up as privileged and as blessed as them, you got to teach kids empathy. You got to teach them empathy when they're young, because obviously it says it in the Bible, right, that what you teach a child, they won't turn away from it as they grow up. And you want to teach them to be empathetic and loving, respectful. Yeah, what I mean? To carry themselves with dignity and respect. Right, and do the same for other people, whether other people can do something for you or not. Because right now we live in a culture where it's about me. What can this person do for me? All this Instagram, TikTok. I was gonna say TikTok. TikTok. Obviously I don't have one.
Top.
Snapchat, which Facebook. Like I said, all this crazy thing about image and about selfishness and about greed, and it being like a cool thing to be all about self. It's not. Newsflash. It's about spreading your blessings to everyone else, and if possible, the next generation, right? Because those are the seeds, right, that you're planting and that you're sowing into your own community and into the world. Come on, people! It only makes sense to do it the right way, right? So thank you for coming out, Louis. Thank you guys.
Having me, man.
You know what I mean?
It's all love. You already know.
Hey, we're both on vacation,
Dabs
so
podcast,
we had to do it over
vacay
here.
Mode.
You know what I mean? Dabs podcast, vacay mode, exactly,
sesh.
dude. You know what I mean?
That was a good sesh right there, man.
We got to get Stephanie back on so she can talk about her next project and how we can support this.
Yeah, she's doing big things, man. She's doing big things. Follow her, support her. She's a monster in the community. She's an activist.
Please do.
She's a beast. She's a great mom. And
she's also a part of the board of education.
Worker. She's everything, man.
Of La Puente, I believe, right?
Yeah, she's a board member. Hacienda.
Beautiful. Like, come on, people, get involved in your community. That's very inspiring. She's a young lady like us, in her
She came from the
30s.
bottom like
Yeah,
us, and
came
she's
from
on
the bottom.
top.
Rose that grew from the concrete. You know what I
That's
mean?
all of us right there.
And if you don't know that poem, look it up. The Rose that grew from concrete. Come on, people, be educated. Oh,
R.I.P. Tupac.
dude, I didn't even
Pac.
think about it, but look how in sync it is. You know what I mean? With my man Pac. The Rose that grew from concrete. Look it up, people. Thank you for showing love to the Dabs podcast. Thank you so much. R.I.P. to the man Pac. R.I.P. to all the homies that went before us. Thank you,
R.I.P.
Louis, for coming up. And yeah, I'll catch you later. And thank you so much for coming back, guys. Appreciate the love. Deuce.